for this. Yeah. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. My girl, and say, this is. I don't know what's going on here. They didn't tell me. First I see it on the news, then I get a phone call. It's World Kidney Month. Did you know it? It's World Kidney Month. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, we just got to put awareness out there. We got to go to the schools. We got to go to the churches. We got to go to our communities. We just got to be let it be known all over the world because they need this. People got to know what kidney disease is about, what kidney problems, kidney issues is about, what people go through, what I've been through, more than anything, what you might have been through, or what my girl Lisa Baxter been through. Child, she got a story. She always got a story. She got a story, but I do know one thing. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Hey, everybody. Good evening, good night. How about that? Yes, it is World Kidney Month, and you've been hearing me say that a lot because it's true and because it's real. But let me tell you something. I got a fantastic guest for you. I always do, but I'm telling you about this one right here this time tonight. I have a kidney warrior, a transplant warrior, a dialysis warrior, a health ambassador, a woman that knows her business, a woman that does her job, and a woman with a story. So I'm going to introduce to you now, Miss Cecille Santana. Come on, girl. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lisa. Nice to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you. I'm so glad to have you. How you been? All right?
Been doing okay. Watching out for myself because these are strange times we're living in.
Oh, please, please. You don't got to tell me we live here, right? We just live here. We live here.
Whew, but this is what we go through.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is what we go through day to day. So this is not really that much different for those of us who are dealing with CKD, ESRD, being on dialysis, being transplant recipients.
Oh, that's so true. CKD, chronic kidney disease, for if you didn't know it. ESRD, end-stage renal disease, just in case you didn't know it. But I know we got some scholars out there, huh? But if you're tuning in for the first time, come on in for the ride. Buckle up, because we're moving.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm very happy to be here because actually it's approximately a year since I started as a health ambassador for Rogerson Institute.
Right, right. We started together. Me, you, and Dawn, right?
That's correct. That's correct. So, you know.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very proud to be a part of it and doing the work that we're doing, reaching out to people and letting them know what they need to know. Because not enough people get information. I know you've gone through it. I've gone through it. We started out and no one really was there to tell us exactly what we were headed for.
Right. So. Well, one of the things I do know and learn is that a person that's been through something reach a person better if they've been through the same thing. I know AA and them uses that. So, you know, we could take a page from their book and do the same thing with dialysis patients, transplant patients, kidney disease, or any other disease. It's easier to reach if the person know what you've been through or going through, or at least understand.
Absolutely. And I feel that when I speak with the patients, you know, a lot of in-center dialysis patients that are, they don't know what you're about when you approach them, but when you start talking and saying, I've been in that chair, then they start opening up because they know that you have an idea of what they've been through. So
yes, you identify.
It's a good feeling to bring encouragement to those people. And it also encourages me to continue doing what I'm doing.
Right, right. So you had the job a year. What was you doing before that?
Working as a public relations consultant. I've done PR and marketing for over 20 years. And in the midst of all that, got hit with being told, hey, listen, your kidneys aren't doing so well. I reflected on that recently, and I realized that even though I started my treatment 14, 15, 16 years ago. Really, I learned about it back about 20 years ago when I was told by not one, but two nephrologists that I had kidney failure, but I didn't know what that meant. And I didn't think to question anything further because they were taking care of me. They were the ones that said, okay, this is what you have to do. Take this medicine, keep to a certain diet. But I didn't even know what stage I was in. So
wow.
yeah. I really didn't know for about 5 years or so what was going on with me or what I was headed for. And had I known, I would have definitely taken better care of myself. I don't think I was going off the deep end, eating the wrong foods or anything. I was eating all the stuff even before I learned about kidney disease. But, you know, sometimes it's just in your DNA, as you know, and there's nothing that you can do to stop that. So the best that you can do is, okay, I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. But then 5 years later, they told me, oh, no, you're at ESRD. You're in the final stages. We got to monitor you. And finally, I was told, we're going to start you on dialysis in 6 months' time.
Okay, now hold it, Cecille. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When you first heard that you was going to be on dialysis, how did you feel?
I have to say, honestly, I didn't feel fearful because I have been taken care of by my doctors, as a matter of fact, at Rogerson Institute. And the nurses, the staff there, the healthcare team gave me the tools to feel confident because I was also dealing with other chronic issues. And they were working hands in hand. Everyone knew what was going on. So even though it was a bit of a shock, and I said, nah, I'm not starting in 6 months. When she told me it was time and that it would be to my benefit to start when I was, because I never had any fluid building up in my legs. I never had any edema. I never had anything that really showed up. I wasn't going through
no real symptoms, you'd say?
No real symptoms. No real symptoms. Exactly. Nothing that would cause alarm for me. But once my doctor told me this is what I had to do, I wasn't happy about it, but I accepted it because I said, this is for my health. This is the situation. Now I know what's going on with me. I think that was what was really most important to me, that now I knew what was happening.
You took it better than most. You know, I don't know, even with a heads up, it would have really rattled my cage. You know, I mean, you know, first they kept promising that I wouldn't be on, and then I might be on, and next thing you know, you're on, kind of thing. So I was disappointed because I didn't have any babies or children yet, and all of my siblings that were basically on dialysis had children already. So that was my bittersweet pill that I wasn't crazy about. But it's good to know that sometimes you working hand in hand with your healthcare professionals, and it didn't rattle your cage. You didn't like it, but you didn't fall apart or cry or go into depression.
Right. Exactly. I don't know. I guess I just felt that confidence. If my doctor told me this is what I had to do, and let's bear in mind, I did not start off on hemodialysis. I started off on peritoneal dialysis. Unlike a lot of other people that don't even know about PD, I was told, this is for you. You're of a certain age. You can handle this. You're working. You can keep on working. This is all going to be to your benefit to maintain how you are now. If this is the lifestyle you want and you don't want to go over that hump of getting worse and having to deal with other symptoms, other kinds of issues, now's the time. And I did it. And that was doing peritoneal dialysis 4 times a day. Once in the morning, once at my office in Westchester County, if anyone's familiar, from Manhattan to Westchester, where I had to go, that was an 1.5-hour commute. And I had a space to be able to do it in an empty office at my small office that I worked at. So again, I had a support system, and I think that makes the difference. I had a support system at home, a support system with my health workers, my healthcare team, and a support system with my friend, with my coworkers, my job.
So it was a clean, sterilized place.
Yes, I made
All right,
sure
and
that.
the doctors and them gave you the tools, like, I guess, like when you're in the army and they, say, lieutenant or whatever, this is the stuff that I need you to do to win this war, kind of thing. And they gave it to you, you took it in, and you was able to do it.
Well, and one thing I always have done is I always check with my healthcare team, no matter who they've been, whether it was on peritoneal dialysis, hemodialysis, which I ended up doing afterwards, or as a transplant patient. Any questions I have about taking any kinds of over-the-counter medications or even natural supplements.
Wow. You're a team player. I ain't mad at you. I definitely ain't mad at you. Now, let me ask you a question. All right. You, I'm so into this. You, all right. You tell somebody what PD is, first of all, before we say anything else that you dealt with. Tell them a little bit about PD and what did you do when you dealt with it? What kind of, how's it done?
Okay. Basically, you have underneath your rib cage the peritoneum, which holds all your organs. Once upon a time, I certainly didn't know what a peritoneum was until I started peritoneal dialysis. So you're not getting cannulated in your arm, you're not getting needles in your arm, you're getting a catheter in your abdomen, but it's not into your stomach, it's not just into a void. The peritoneum is that sac that holds all those organs, which makes sense because they're not just swimming around, something's got to hold them into your body. The liquid that you're putting into the dialysate that's going into your peritoneum, it remains there for a certain amount of time to remove those quote unquote toxins, from your organs as your food is going through your body and all. And then you do 4 exchanges if you're doing the 4 times a day, which isn't bad because it's only about a half an hour. It's like sit down, read the newspaper, sit down, write some notes down, sit down, watch something on your video. When you start, you put everything down. You can't be distracted by anything else. Aseptic, you have to be absolutely aseptic. Mask over the face, Purell on the hands, even gloves if you have to. Hook yourself up just like if you were in the Matrix. I don't know if you ever saw the movie, that thing that went into the back of their head. Well, this is something that you're doing. This is the way, again, this is what helped me to make light of what I was doing. I felt I was my own, science experiment because I was fascinated by the fact that I was being kept alive this way. What? And I'm taking care of this on my own. I'm doing this on my own. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty amazing to me. So I went from doing it 4 times a day to graduating to what's called a cycler. And it's a machine that you put on your nightstand and you do it overnight. The dwell, right? It's either 8 hours. Some people do it for 9 hours. Again, I thought it was a boon because as a public relations consultant, I didn't have to run back home to try and do my exchanges when I was doing it 4 times a day. Because after I finished working 9 to 5 as an employee, and I did PD for a year back in 2005, I said, okay, no mas, I have to stop and I have to go and do the next thing. I got onto the cycler. I was doing work as a consultant. I was working from home, telecommuting, doing work for an agency out in San Antonio, Texas, for a client in Maryland.
Wow.
This is the way of the world.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And while I was doing that, I was also doing PR work at agencies nearby, very small agencies, or very small event planning firms and stuff like that. Organizations, nonprofit most of the time.
Wow. And you made it work for you.
I made it work. I mean, I thought it was fantastic doing the cycler, graduating to the cycler, because I was done. I was done for the day. All I had to do was get back on that machine later on that evening, watch my movie, fall asleep, start the next day, and I was free. So
you had your routine in place.
I had my routine, and it worked. It worked for a good amount of time.
How long?
7 years.
7?
7 years.
That's
Now, I've heard people who've done it for longer.
Wow. Yeah.
But
my sister did it too. So yeah, 7 is the number of completion in the Bible. I ain't mad at you. So what made you stop doing it?
Like we all
move
do,
on, rather.
like we
Or
all
change.
do, I tripped up. I tripped up. I wasn't taking care of myself the way I should have. Oh. Some of us have a tendency of overworking, staying up late, maybe missing a treatment or two.
My Lord.
The signs were there. I didn't pay attention. You best believe that I'm paying attention for the past, 6, 7, 8 years now. Wow. So I had to go on to hemodialysis because it was serious enough that I had to have the catheter removed. Okay. Had I taken care of myself for those 2 more years, I'm sure I would have transitioned from PD to transplantation without a glitch. But
I believe you. I believe you. Yeah.
My mindset is there was a reason for me to sit in that in-center chair. I learned a lot. And it's a way that I'm now able to connect with the other in-center patients and say, okay, I may not be familiar with everything that's going on that screen, as I realize now that I should have, but I was very, very fortunate that I didn't have any serious issues. My responsibility to myself was to not, and you've heard me say this before, you've heard me say this before, Lisa, I wasn't one to have a banana in the morning, a pizza in the afternoon, and mashed potatoes in the evening. You're just looking for trouble. Wow. Potassium and phosphorus levels just going out of whack. That's not going to help me.
Yes.
That's not going to help.
No. Now, how did you feel when you had to transition from peritoneal, PD to hemodialysis? Was it an easy thing? Was it hard or difficult? Or was it even hard to learn because they're done differently?
Now this is where we come to how affected I was. I was so proud of myself that I was going to go into doing PD, doing this on my own. I had control, pat on the back. You're a good patient. You're doing the right thing. And you're so independent. I felt I had failed myself. And so, yes, I did most certainly did go through a depression. Because
you beat yourself up, huh?
I most certainly did.
Aw.
Like I said, due diligence. I never missed the treatment. I wasn't, oh no. But I really felt that I had, it makes me, I can almost feel it now. I felt it. I felt it.
Yeah,
it's like, wow.
Well, you were still in your training camp. I mean, you went from one graduation to another or one lesson to the other lesson. So it's a lesson you learned that didn't kill you, and it's a lesson you learned that you could help somebody else with it. I learned to take away from some of the things that happened to me, or some of the things were good and bad choices, or issues that I've had, or anybody that I met that had. I had to learn for something from it for myself as well as for them if it was their thing. You know what I mean? So
right.
I think that you're doing such a great job. So I see that you brought some stuff with you from these experiences. So I'm proud of you, my own self. You know what I mean? So. Your story is so deep. I'm blown all the time. Let me tell you. Okay. How long did you do hemodialysis?
So I was on hemodialysis for approximately 2 years.
Okay, so we did the 7 year, then we did the 2 year.
Right. And I had to be placed on hold. Then I had to be placed on hold on the UNOS, for transplantation because of my other chronic issue. So that was mandatory. That was like, okay, nope, sorry, because I happen to be a stage 1 breast cancer survivor as well.
Woohoo!
And yeah,
Hallelujah! All right, woohoo! I'm
so
glad.
yes, I
Wow,
was diagnosed the same year that I was diagnosed with ESRD.
wow. Two
So
things at the same time. A double hit.
bah,
A
bah.
double hit. But let me tell you, you did a home run, baby. No matter what you was hit with, you still running and surviving and sliding right in the home plate. I ain't mad at you. Come on
I
now.
love you, Lisa. You're
Victory in the
so right.
house, victory in the camp. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Again, I was fortunate enough to find, um, well, you're referred to certain doctors and you go to them because of the good news you've heard, because of the good reviews, whatever the case may be. However,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a true believer that if you're going to a medical professional and you're not exactly happy with very valid reasons, not that
Uh-huh.
you're like, oh, I just don't like him, then you have a responsibility to yourself to say, what can I change about this? What can I do to get the care that I feel that I deserve? I've been to a couple of doctors, not necessarily having to do with nephrology, anything having to do with my kidney health care team, but I've been to doctors where it's like, you know what, I'm not happy about this and I have to move on. No, no anger, no malice, none of that. Just
No, no.
time to move on. That's all.
Right,
There's
right.
not a match here. Sometimes it can be
Yeah.
done, sometimes it can't because of our insurance, etc. That's a whole other story.
Yeah, yeah. I
you
know
know.
that's right. I
So
was fortunate to have good doctors, and sometimes you do run into a crazy one or a strange one or one that doesn't know what they're doing or talking about or just in it for the money. But I'm glad you had a good team. It
yeah,
takes
like I
teamwork to make the dream work.
like I
So
said,
yeah,
there are some that, if you're not going to be in line with the kind of care that I'm receiving, then I have to move on, you know.
yeah. You have to do something till you could do better. You
Hmm.
know. Now,
Hmm.
when breast cancer, were you did you go through a lot of chemo what happened when
Fortunately,
it? Yes.
fortunately, I did not go through chemo because it was only stage one. Only
Oh, thank
stage
God.
one. Yeah, but
Okay.
compared to what people have to go through stage 2 and 3 and 4, but I went through radiation. Again,
Okay.
I was fortunate enough that I wasn't doing chemo, so that's a very good point. That I was not doing chemo at the during that same time. But yes, there were times that I had to do my second treatment of PD, my
Hmm.
second dwell, and then leave the office and come back to Manhattan and go to a radiologist.
Wow.
So yeah,
Well, that's a lot of tracking, a lot of running, and a lot of going. I knew you had your sneakers or your combat boots on.
8 weeks worth, my dear, 8 weeks
My
worth.
lord, my lord.
But
Wow.
again, sometimes we work at places that can be supportive, but yet not very happy about the situation that you are dealing with because it takes up their time for you to be doing their work. But nevertheless, this is what I felt comfortable with. I was not going to go to a radiologist in Westchester. Again, it depends on your comfort level, on what's going to
Right.
work for you. And this is what worked for me. Yes, it was trying because now I'm taking, the Metro North, a subway, and a bus to get to where I needed to go. But
Wow.
this is my kidneys, my breast cancer situation, my life, and I was going to do everything that I needed to do to
God
care
knows
for
you
myself.
did. I'm telling you, you did. You hit the ground running. Now,
Hmm.
once you cleared up and was healed of breast cancer, so you were able to go back on the list and get the call, or how did that go, or what happened when you got the call? Take us there with you now.
Another great question. Thank you, Lisa. Because
I
what
ain't mad at
happened with me is that my coordinator was keeping in touch with me, working with me. We were keeping in touch, but unfortunately, she was going through her own serious illness as well.
you. Oh wow.
And so there came a point where there was a disconnect. I wasn't
Mhm.
hearing from her. I didn't call her back. And that one year, I would say pretty much when I was coming to the end of being on PD, I just didn't keep up with her. And poof, life goes on, and work. Now I was working hard, but now I'm on,
Yeah.
doing my own thing, because once I started hemodialysis, I took a break even from my consulting work. So it was just the kind of thing that I had a lot on my mind dealing with the hemodialysis. So the reason why I say that your question is so important is that I'm finding myself speaking with patients who don't feel that it's necessary for them to follow up with their transplant coordinators.
Ooh, we're going to put that out there. Come on now.
Right. So have you gone through all the clearances? Are we on the same page of everything that's needed to be done? What's going on? Because people will question what's the holdup. But you and I know that it's an average of 5 to 7 years to wait for a kidney.
Sure.
Especially if you're not looking for a live donor and you're waiting for, a deceased or cadaver kidney.
Sure.
So there's all kinds of situations, but you have to keep on top of you are your own hero. You've got to be your own hero. You've got to keep up on top of what's going on in the world of, like you say, this is National Kidney Month. Who knows this? We within the health community, within the kidney community, we know this. And we make sure that we try to, like your little emoji that I saw the other day, just put it on out there with a megaphone, because it's important to us. I love that emoji, because it's important. It's important to sound, the alarm and let people know, hey, listen, this is the time for us to come together. And with everything going on, it still seems like it's not enough. We've got to let our family members and friends understand. Oh, you've got diabetes, or oh, your uncle is on dialysis, or has end-stage renal disease or CKD. Maybe you should go for a screening. I didn't know about screening way back when. Did you?
No.
This is something.
You should know your family history. I didn't know when my father had PKD. I still didn't know what they was talking about or knew what they was talking. I didn't know. Right. I didn't get it. I'm glad we got it now. It would have been nice to get it before I got on dialysis. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is at this point. So we can save somebody else because we didn't get it. Right. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get it.
I'm just hoping that people out here, again, I get a little emotional about it, because it's like, please tell your family members, be aware. I've asked friends if their family members who have gone to their doctors and they have diabetes. By the way, I just wanted to know, have they warned you? Have they said anything about, possible kidney failure and what you need to do to avoid that? And I've been told that, yes, they have. So something's going on. However, what about our primary care doctors? Wow. And all we have to do is either go for a screening elsewhere or ask our doctors, hey, doctor, you know what? My sister, my uncle, my mother, my brother, whomever has it. I'd like to get checked. Because they're going through that. They're going through that, and they're making sure that everything else is going on. Oh, okay, creatinine.
Everything but the kidneys. Rogerson is doing a check, with that in the Brooklyn site on Linden Boulevard.
Absolutely. They're doing free screenings.
I would think it's 2372 Linden. But people should just ask questions and be aware. Don't let it be hidden under a rock. Now, you got the transplant. How did that go, and how's that going?
I have to say that, knock on wood, it's gone very well. I was very fortunate. I find myself extremely fortunate compared to the stories that I've heard and the challenges that people have dealt with in terms of receiving a kidney. So yes, again, did everything I needed to do to keep up with my healthcare team, my post-transplant office. And yes, I've been very fortunate. And again, anytime I have a question, I just send an email or put in a call to say, hey, by the way, I've been feeling a little strange. Should I come in? Or I am coming in first thing in the morning and, gotten checked out. And I can pat myself on the back and say, I did the right thing by following my
Yeah.
my voice. You know, the voices in
Yeah.
my head
Oh,
that
yes,
told
I
me,
called the emergency hotline.
yes,
Some,
yes,
to make sure I was eating the right thing, or if I was wanting to taste something or do something. Even though they schooled me in it, sometimes,
right,
because the kidney is so new, they allowed you to call when they were on 24-hour call. I know at what Mount Sinai, where I got it from, I could call them anytime about what I had
right.
needed to call them if I was nervous about something. And I remember one time they biopsied my kidney,
Yeah.
Hannah. I called my kidney Hannah, and I didn't want them to do that. I said, leave her alone. She's working good. And they didn't find anything. I said, come on now. Don't be running no tests on me making no money. If something really wrong with me, I'm the first one to lay down. But if it ain't nothing wrong with me, don't mess with me. So,
Hmm.
did you have to take a lot of pills?
You know, that's what you have to start out on, right? You're
Right.
taking all these pills, and as time goes by, it gets lowered and lowered and lowered. So we were very
Yeah.
fortunate. I was very
Yeah.
fortunate that I was able to, after what, 2.5, 3 months, it just went down to the basic ones.
Mm-hmm.
One
Yeah.
being,
Mine did too. Mm-hmm.
tacrolimus and mycophenolic. I know people know them as Mycelex and Cellcept.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Prograph, cell set.
Prograph,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so I don't have an issue with taking the medications. I know that a lot of people are like, "Oh my goodness, I have to take all these pills." I take I take 5 pills in the morning plus 2 other ones that I have to take, and
Yeah.
and 4 pills in the
Right.
evening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I
think
do
that's a
4
lot.
and 2.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
think that's a lot to ask for to keep me at
Kidneys
the
go.
level that, yeah, I don't think it's a
Right.
lot to ask
Right.
for. I think that we
Wow.
do it to ourselves to frustrate ourselves with, what we have to do. I mean,
Well,
you've been given the
you're a
gift of life.
this is Women's Month, and you have had so many great fortunes. Everything that you've been through was rough, but you said it was fortunate, fortunate, fortunate. So you got a great fortune. I love your fortune. I am about to end the show. Is there anybody, and thank you for telling us about depression as well, because I don't know. How did you deal with the depression really quick?
Um,
Did you see anybody or took a pill or
I
calmed down,
did.
took a
I was
vacation?
recommended to see someone, absolutely, but nowadays not everyone can do that, and I understand that
Right.
here in New York City, at least, there's a phone call that you can make. I think it's NYC Well, and
Oh,
speak
yeah,
with
it is.
someone.
That's the true thing.
Okay,
Right.
so there's that. Thank goodness there is that. But I did that for a while. But I've also, just continued with listening. There's so many things on YouTube. Thank goodness for YouTube, where you
Bless
can
them.
find music to soothe you and listen to some
Yeah.
meditation or
I did a
anything.
lot of prayer.
Anything can be meditation, whether it's someone
Yeah.
doing a prayer or someone doing some music or whatever.
Exercise,
Yeah,
prayer,
yeah,
vacation.
exactly,
And I
exactly.
talked to somebody when my husband and sister died. If you had to give a shout out to somebody, who would you give the shout out to, love?
I would give a shout out to my friends and family. I mean, without them, oh my goodness, I don't know how I would have done it. I have an elder sister who's been like a mom to me, and
Beautiful.
she's
I
been
got one.
amazing. She's been there all the time. She went to the dialysis unit those first couple of weeks. She went to the dialysis with me, and I was like, "You don't have to do this." No, no,
Wow.
no. She did it.
Fantabulous.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Anything we missed or anything you'd like to say before I end the show? Cease, you've been too much. You've been wonderful. I
Thank
just love
you.
having you.
Thank you. Thank you. No, listen, like I said again, I feel that I'm extremely fortunate and blessed to be doing what I'm doing at Rogosin Institute. I think they're great. Anyone wanting information, there's so much information on the internet, but if you're going to start somewhere to find out some resources, go to their website. Go to the website of AAKP for
Say,
resources. These are
yes.
things that, like you, I didn't know about. I didn't think to look up this kind of information. And it's
Right.
there. What to do
Yep.
if you've just been diagnosed, what to do if you're on dialysis. It's all out there.
Okay.
That's
Sure
the
is.
American Association of Kidney Patients. So,
Keep digging, keep swimming. I know
mhm,
that's right.
that's
Well,
right.
thank you, my love. You've been wonderful, and I see
Thank
you at work
you.
whenever we return.
That's right.
Uh,
When we work
and
at the same time, because they have us all over the place, right?
that is so true. But you keep doing what you're doing. You keep being that spark out there, and I appreciate you. Good day.
Thank you, Lisa. Doing
You
great
are so
work,
welcome.
and I'm really glad to be part of the roster of people that you've interviewed. So thanks a lot.
Oh. Bless your life. Well, you guys have heard it. You know, I had a wonderful, fantabulous guest. You've heard her story. You heard her victories. All right. And you heard her trials, but she triumphed. All right. So you keep blessing yourself, keep doing well, keep doing good. Take care of yourself, take care of your kidneys, and they'll take care of you. 9 o'clock, we got another show for you. So look in, tune in. You might get that reminder, bing, bing of the bell. I ain't mad at you. Love you. Peace. Lisa.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah.
This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 and the kidney one. My girl, and say.